The prophet Isaiah said that they that come of Jacob would blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. The nation of Israel has now become the third largest exporter of fruit in the world. God spoke to the mountains of Israel and said they would be planted again, they would be tilled, the land would be sown, and this land that had become so barren would become fruitful and like the Garden of Eden. God said, I will do it. He did it. You go to Israel today and you see the fields covered with grain, covered with trees, and you realize God has done it.
Let's take a look at another interesting verse. Way back in the Old Testament, Isaiah 27, verse 6, quote, Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit, unquote. I mean, this was wilderness until very few years ago. It was uninhabited, and it seemed to be uninhabitable. Go to Israel today. The forests that they've planted have brought in increasing rainfall, and Joel 2, verse 23, foretold that. Israel sells flowers to Holland. That's astonishing. I mean, exactly what these scriptures foretold is happening in our day. And you go there, and Israel is blossoming like a bud.
According to Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics, Israel has significantly increased irrigation in the land during our current generation. Even from space, the once desolate nation of Israel is now lush with vegetation. In stark contrast, the surrounding nations are mostly barren.
From many passages of Scripture in the Bible concerning the future, prophecies that regard the nation of Israel, we realize that the temple must be rebuilt in order for these prophecies to be fulfilled. It is interesting to note that the Jews are very interested in the rebuilding of their temple. There have been several groups that have formed with the intent of the rebuilding of the temple. Already they are making instruments to be used in the temple for the sacrifices and for the temple worship. And you can go to Jerusalem today and you can see some of the furniture and utensils that have already been made according to the Levitical law.
One of the next things to take place will be the rebuilding of the temple. How do we know? Jesus, Paul, and John all make reference to it. And of course, the interesting news out of Israel is they are preparing to rebuild. The Temple Institute has fabricated 63 of the 103 implements to be used in the temple. There are several hundred young men being trained to serve as priests in the temple. Scientists are in earnest, searching out the remaining loose ends, not the least of which is the precise location of the temple.
There's something in the Israeli soul about this temple. They already have the plans, they've got the stones, they've got the instruments, they've got the robes and so forth. They're ready to go. And the temple will indeed be rebuilt. And the Antichrist is the one who will allow this to happen.
Several Bible verses confirm that the Jewish temple will be rebuilt in Jerusalem during the final days. In Revelation chapter 11, verse 1, we read, "Rise and measure the temple of God, the altar, and those who worship there."
God foretold all of this, and this is the great sign. You say, does God exist? How do I know God exists? Israel. Take a look. Exactly what he said would happen has happened. You can't be an atheist. You can't be an agnostic. Nobody can deny it. These are the facts. It's happened before our very eyes. And of course, there's more yet to come. And because what he foretold has already happened, we have every confidence that what he says is yet to happen will indeed happen exactly as the Bible says.
In this segment, we're going to look at Bible prophecy concerning a one-world system, political and religious, that will be necessary for man to survive.
According to the Bible, in the last days, all of the world will be gathered together in sort of a global community, ruled by this one man, empowered by Satan, known as the Beast, or the Antichrist, or the Man of Sin, or the Son of Perdition.
In Revelation chapter 13 we read, "And all the world marveled and followed the beast. So they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?"
Now the Bible has indicated that at the end times, as it calls it, there's going to be a global leader rise. And he's going to be the most attractive guy the world has ever seen. The world is going to embrace him. And incidentally, he's a man of peace. He's a financial guy, not a military guy. He becomes very militarily powerful, so that who can make war with him is the cry.
In 1995, hundreds of political, business, and religious leaders joined together in San Francisco for the first annual State of the World Forum. Their mission statement is to build the first global civilization. Proposals included creating a common language, creating a single currency, and uniting and accepting all religions. One of the religious leaders said, "The universe is seeking to fulfill itself through us." As we study world events, we must conclude that the world is working towards a new world order.
It's interesting as you examine what's going on in each country, not just in America, but also in the major countries of Europe. There seems to be a hidden agenda being followed towards a global, socialist, centralized government. We see that trend in this country. The Bush administration made that quite clear. The current administration is also clearly marching to that agenda. We see in Britain, France, Germany, the politicians are subverting their own national interests towards a dream of a one-world government. There's lots of reasons for that. The idealists believe it may be the best for the environment and for the earth. Others point out that the real driving force probably is nuclear proliferation. Now the world is heading for disaster, and as you grapple with these issues, the conclusion you come to is the only answer is global supervision. Most of the leadership in the world is pursuing an agenda that presumes that there's going to have to be a single administration of the planet Earth. And the challenge before mankind is, how do you get there nonviolently?
I think everybody realizes we're heading for a one-world government. You have to. We've got to get rid of wars, rivalry between nations, but we're also heading for a one-world religion. You have to. Most of the wars, even right now on this earth, are between religious factions, tribal factions. So we've got to have a one-world religion as well as a one-world government. The two fit together. Now, that we have an ecumenical movement moving us in that direction, and that the Pope is the leader of it, can't be denied.
The whole world is interconnected. It's not one country off by themselves and another country off by themselves. That between trade, travel, interdependence to survive in this earth, that it's going to, sooner or later, people are going to have to realize they have to work together.
From what I see, the Pope is trying to get people to realize the problems that they have are individually superficial, and that a more of a greater worldview should be more expressed.
The Pope's main drive, I think, today is would like world peace, and I think, one ultimate religion.